So welcome back to our, thanks Mangalika and Beryl. So welcome back after a break, and happy to have all of you come back again. So today will be our third masterclass session. Before that, a very happy afternoon and happy Chinese New Year to everyone who is celebrating. I believe today is also the official Hokkien Chinese New Year. So very, very happy Chinese New Year. Now, just to recap what we do before Diana starts her third class today, we actually have gone through 2 sessions. I hope that you have gone through the slides as well as the recordings to recap, because whenever you recap, you actually understand something even better. So just very quickly, let me share with you my slides as well. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, so today is week 3, and what we have is, before we start on today's session, basically is just to let you know why digital marketing is an important skill and why the FWD Takaful actually chose to do this as a masterclass for all of you, because it's a very important skill no matter in which industry or sector you decide to work in, right? And also to do digital marketing, as much as everybody thinks that, you just go and sell online or in social media, right? It is not as simple as that. It actually requires 7 skill sets to make 1 skill set of digital marketing expert, right? And in the process of learning, you will have to actually do a lot of research and everything. But what FWD Takaful has done for you is, out of the 7 skills, besides actually having the 7 skills in place for you, all you have to do is actually work on your communication skills and social media skills to become successful with your affiliate program. But in the meantime, while you are learning, of course, you will learn about data analysis, content creation. SEO is search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing, right? And all these different skill sets, which they actually have already put in place through their app for you, right? So it's actually a hand holding that will help you to embrace digital learning in a better way. So the last 2 classes, what Diana did was she spoke on what is Takaful Insurance, the difference between the 2 different insurance, right? One is Takaful, one's the normal insurance. She spoke on that. As also she shared on why insurance is a need and not a want. So you should put special emphasis on insurance as part of your expenses, right? And also the different terms she shared, right? In terms of hiba, which is a gift, tabaru, which is donation, rider means an add-on benefit, wakala is contract, riba means unjust gains, and sum covered means the amount of coverage. Why I'm repeating this to you is because later when she speaks, you will remember these words again, right? And also she taught you all how the claims process goes through. She also did a case study with you, giving you examples and things like that. And then in Masterclass 2, just before we broke off for Chinese New Year, she had introduced about the online products and what Takaful FWD offers to its affiliates, right? And also she showed you how simple it is to do affiliate marketing with their app. So finally, she also shared with you the QR code for you all to go ahead. And now I will actually invite Diana to start her week 3 and explain and move forward. Here, the floor is yours, Diana. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. And I hope everyone has had a really good holiday. I personally took the whole week off since it was a leave for those in KL. We had leave from Tuesday to Thursday. So I took Monday and Friday. Monday I came into work, but Friday I took off as well. So it was definitely a well-rested holiday. I hope you guys had a good Chinese New Year celebration as well. And I hope you guys have been staying safe because the cases have been rising recently, which is a bit concerning. But anyways, I'm not going to take too much of your time. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit more interesting. So like what Rani mentioned just now, the past 2 weeks, right, we've been talking more on the very more insurance side of things. Simply put, we talked about Takaful, we talked about affiliate marketing. So it's still very much related to the insurance side of things. And the reason why that's important is because when I dive into today's topic, I want it would be easier once you're very familiar with like what Rani said, the terms, certain concepts around the industry and also affiliate marketing concepts, because then you'll be able to gel the topic today, which is about content creation and development, with what you've learned so far. It'll just be easier for you to catch up as well. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen right now. 1 second. Today's content, I think a lot of you guys would really enjoy it because this is something that just to share a bit on like my background. So before I joined FWD, I was also actually a freelance content creator. So I did do this. This is I'm not an expert. I'm not like like super expert in it, but I do have a couple years worth of experience in content creation under a company like FWD. But I also did it freelance for a really long time for smaller businesses and also just for personal branding. So one thing I can say is content creation is definitely something I really believe in it. I think when it comes to speaking about yourself or your brand or your product, it always comes back down to how good you develop the materials for it. How good do you sell essentially, right, your product through your content creation? So just to recap a bit on what I mentioned in the previous, like in the first week call, I said, when you go into a store, right, there's actually someone there pitching the service or the product to you, and you're more likely to buy it from someone who's very courteous, very they talk with manners, they're polite, they're friendly, and you feel comfortable around them, compared to someone who comes to you and go, hi, here's a keyboard, buy it. So same goes with content creation, right? There is a certain way for you to actually market your product in a manner that not only gets people talking about that specific product, but your company or your brand or whatever organization you have as a whole. So this is very applicable, if you ask me, to whether if you are working under a company. So if you are, let's say, for example, a marketing exec, or you work under a company in the marketing or sales field, this is very relevant to you. But also if you're a freelancer, let's say if you have a business of your own, or it's a side income that you do, right? This just kind of gives you a bit more overview on what you can do immediately, like right now, to boost the awareness for your brand or for your business. So the things that I'm going to be sharing today, right, they are very much at an individual level, which means this is not something that you have to collaborate with other people to do. It is very much something that after I give you these slides or after I share this, you can quite literally try them out yourself and just start learning from there. Okay, so when we talk about content creation, there's a few things that we need to look at. But particularly for today, I will focus more on social media content. So understand that when it comes to content creation, right, it's never like a one size fit all. You can't really use, like, for example, content that you do for a website on your social media postings, especially something like Instagram where it's very bite-sized. So you can maybe take the messaging of that content, but you're gonna have to repackage it. It means rewrite it, redesign it in a way that is relevant for social media. So today, what I will focus on is on social media content, because I think that's the easiest way for you to learn about content development, because it's bite-sized. And also social media, what's interesting about it is that there are algorithms in place. It means there are already systems in place, right, to help boost certain type of content. So it just provides a bit more structure for you to understand content creation. Okay, so first of all, why is content creation important in the first place? And why, more importantly, visual materials, so it means pictures and videos, are so famous now, so popular now? Why does everyone go for like platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, for example, compared to a blog nowadays? And the reason being is, right, visual content helps you retain information longer and also more information over time. So I just want you guys to think about it a little, right? Let's say if you're gonna watch a video on insurance and it's like 30 seconds long, let's say it's on TikTok, compared to, let's say, a 1 minute article that you have to read. Chances are you're probably gonna remember what was written in, like what was said in the video more than you would on a blog, because it's because of two things, right? One is because when you watch a video, your attention is 100% just on the video. It's a passive entertainment, right? But your attention is fully on there. Whereas when you read a blog, yeah, you can retain it, but it's a lot drier. There's not much engagement there. It's only engaging you in terms of the reading. But when it comes to a video, there's just so much stimulation going on that to a certain extent, there is a limit here, right? To a certain extent, that kind of visual stimulation really helps you retain things, but also too much of it can actually make you forget. So that's why it's really important that you need to know averagely what kind of attention span people have. So for example, we know now, like from a lot of research that we've done, people only watch ads for a maximum of 5 seconds, and then they decide whether they're going to skip or not, which is why a lot of YouTube ads are 5 seconds long, because that's when they use to capture your attention. Anything longer than that, you're probably going to click skip ad, unless the ad is something very relevant to you and it's very interesting to you. So same goes with your content, right? It needs to be something that people, you can either one, capture people's attentions within 5 seconds, or it needs to be 5 seconds long for people to even remember it in the first place. That's how it's a good and bad thing, right? It's a good thing that you know this information, but it also kind of shows how our attention span as a human being as a whole has reduced so much over the past decade because of social media. Generally speaking, people do not have as much attention span nowadays simply because we do watch a lot more shorter videos. And if you look into research, for example, they have shown how like the emergence of YouTube, which is like essentially the thing that started out social media in a way, the emergence of YouTube actually decreased people's attention span already. And now from YouTube to TikTok, there is also another decrease. And if you notice, it's because YouTube videos tend to be about 15 to 20 minutes long at most. TikTok videos, at most, you get 1 minute. Even then, how many of us, if we use TikTok, would actually watch a 1 minute video? Most of the time, we watch a 30-second one and either we skip or we move on to the next video. So same goes to whatever content you're creating, right? You need to kind of accommodate to what people can attend to, can focus to. So it's a bit more psychological here. Like this kind of research is really interesting because it really shows you how like content creation plays such a big role in our daily life nowadays. All we do is consume content because of social media. If any of you here actually do not go on social media often, I have so much respect for you, because even my 52-year-old mom who's not very tech savvy can spend hours scrolling on TikTok, just consuming one content after the other. Okay. All right, so another one that I think is quite straightforward is that a picture is quite literally worth 1,000 words, because something that may require you to write one paragraph, if you put it in a picture and you illustrate it well, you can have it in like all the information in a singular picture. That's why good design is really important. But essentially, what we have noticed so far is that 49% of marketers actually say that video helps to engage their audience, simply because videos are not like static images, right? So static images, you only have like that one thing, just the image. It doesn't move, it doesn't change. But videos, right, there's constant change to it because like a person is talking, or there is a change in the illustration or the design. So something is moving, so it captures your attention more. So another thing that people have noticed is that bite-sized content wins over everything. So that's why, for example, if you compare blog posts and Twitter will still have better engagement simply because it's very bite-sized, it's very short. It's like 100 and what, I think nowadays they only have like 180 characters or less. That's so little, but at the same time, because it's so little, it takes lesser brain energy for you to like process the information. Even then, we noticed that Twitter tweets that have visual content like videos or images are 3 times more likely to get engagement. You can test this out because I've actually tried this out myself. Do you know those like Shopee ambassador links? I've noticed that anyone who has those Shopee referral links anywhere, if they don't post images, right, they cannot sustain. But for example, these referral links, whenever they share images with it, it tends to either get a couple of retweets or at best case scenario, it really does go viral. And lastly, on a more professional setting, LinkedIn posts even with images have a 98% higher comment rate. Maybe that's why a lot of people, like even fresh graduates, they will go on LinkedIn to post about their like that they've graduated or how well they did in their uni and stuff, and they will always post a picture alongside it. And it's because we are just trained, like from a biological, like our brain, right, the way it functions is that we're just trained to stop and look at visual content because it's something we can picture. So in conclusion to this is just to say that strong visual content on social media just gives people a reason to listen to you. And then because they get to see something, they tend to have an opinion, as most of us do, so they will tend to comment. And the more they continuously do this, so this is not an overnight thing, right? But over time, they will start associating you with this particular concept, product or service or anything it is. And they will ultimately end up buying from you. So it's really important to remember that when it comes to marketing out a product or a service, right, nothing is by accident, truly speaking. Your decisions in purchasing anything always comes back down to how well this particular brand has been able to convince you to buy that product. And that is why if you look at, like, for example, Rani mentioned SEO and SEM just now, which I think was a very good example. If you look into the way SEO and SEM uses content to convince people to buy things, it's really amazing what AI and like technology can do nowadays. Like we can even split, for example, right? We can share an ad to you if you've never seen FWD Takaful before. But over time, let's say if you've clicked on that ad or if you've seen that ad and Google knows you've seen that ad, they can also serve you another ad that feels very personalized to what you've seen. And that's what Apple and Nike does very well. That is why they are also very successful in their marketing strategies. So in conclusion here, what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to content creation, if you see, right, no matter how much technical parts that you put into it, right, ultimately, these are all just supporting materials. It comes back down to how good your content is and whether people will engage with it or not. Okay, so what kind of visual contents do we have in the first place? So there's 2 types. Actually, we can break this down to a lot more, but let's just keep it like really simplified for now. There are 2 types. One is a hard sell content. This is very direct language. We talk about the product directly, and this is when we want to build like that kind of urgency to sell. So for example, a good brand that does this a lot is Shopee. They don't try to play with soft sell content and everything, but it works for them because think about how many times the Shopee song has stuck in our head. I still have that Baby Shark Shopee song playing in my head from time to time. That's just how convincing they are when it comes to their hard sell. And they don't need to do a lot of soft sell in the first place because their entire marketing strategy is about giving you as many sales as possible that you just cannot help but buy. Like really interestingly, that day I was just opening the Shopee app to show my mom something that I bought, and I ended up checking out a couple of things from my cart. That is how powerful their marketing strategy is that you cannot help but to respond to your impulse purchases, which I find very interesting. So this is just to show you that hard sell content doesn't mean that it's bad content. Yeah, a lot of people tend to have this perception that I don't want to do hard sell because then it seems so obvious that I'm selling. But guess what? You are selling. People know you are selling. So it's okay. It's okay to do hard sell content as long as you do it tactically, right? And you do it in a respectful manner. The people don't like hard sell content when it's not done right, when it feels pushy and when it feels like you're shoving the product down their throat. But if you're just telling them like, hey, this is how my product benefits you, and by the way, I'm selling this product, nobody's going to get offended by that, you see, because at the end of the day, people like to buy things, people like to spend. So as long as you do your hard sell content properly, it's not going to offend anyone or make anyone uncomfortable. which is what I'm going to show you in a bit as well, how to do hard sell right. Okay, now we have another type of content that recently, I feel like over the past decade has been very popular, which is soft sell content. And you see a lot of this on TikTok actually. So much of this on TikTok. So for example, if you go on TikTok nowadays, right, those influencers or KOLs, they don't do things like, hi, this is the product, I'm selling it to you. They will create a whole storyline for it. They will only pitch the product as part of the video. And it's very effective because you're already invested, you're already watching the video. And then like maybe 30 seconds in, they go like, this is how this product is relevant to my daily life, because they have already created that scene. You see, so that is a more soft sell approach. It's very much integrated into a content, and it's not the main purpose of the content, but ultimately there's still a very slight product push, just to get awareness out about the product. So like mentioned on the slide, right, it's very subtle and it's aimed to add value to readers. So for example, like maybe I can give for insurance or Takaful, right, it might be more of like a storyline where the struggles this person face, you get invested in their story. Maybe they do like a draw my life thing where they show you what this person has gone through. Now you're invested in this storyline, and then maybe like 1 minute in or 30 seconds in, they go like, oh, this person had a hard time with this, and you know, it was still very stressful, but one thing that they didn't have to worry about was the fact that financially they were secure because they had insurance. So it's not denying anything, it's a very realistic scene, so you actually enjoy watching it, right? So like, you know, oh yeah, this person is still going through a tough time, this person is still having it rough, right? But it's just that one part of it, financial security part of it, was handled because they had insurance. A good brand that does this a lot is actually like Shell, Celcom, Petronas. Every time they put out one CNY ad, Raya ad, right, we all burst into tears. So that's more of a, that's a sadder soft sell approach lah, but like that's what I'm coming from. You sometimes it's not even super related to the brand. Like for example, right, Shell and Petronas does this a lot. They don't even talk about the brand, to be honest. It's like always just a logo at the end. But if you notice throughout the video, there's always some sort of traveling going on. And when you travel, what do you need? You need petrol. You need to pump your gas. So that's how they do a soft sell approach. They don't outrightly show you the Shell outlet and then take the gas pump and put it in, but they just show you things that require the brand. So for example, like, oh, this child after so long never see the mom, gonna go travel back, then they show the person traveling long distance and then they come back. So it's a whole sad story, and then at the end only they introduce you, oh, this ad is made by Shell. So that's a very good example of a soft sell approach. Okay. All right, so here are just some example of the hard sell content that we've created in FWD. So for example, if you see hard sell content here, right, it's very straightforward. Like the product name is there and the product benefit is also very obviously there. So for example, we talk about Flexi Cover Group Plan and we see how this plan can protect your lifestyle from the unexpected for just this price. So the point of this hard sell contents, we use this a lot for ad buys on Google and Facebook, the ones that when you scroll, you tend to see those ads. These are the kind of ads you will see because we don't have the time to create a story. For example, in these situations, right? Like I said, it comes back again to like the urgency thing. So when you see an ad, like I said, someone only spends 5 seconds looking at an ad at most. So it means, right, I don't have the time to sit here and tell you a story about why it's so important to get this plan. We only have time to really like speed pitch what the benefits are. So for example, for Flexi Cover Group Plan, it's really affordable. It's one of our most affordable plans. We just tell you, hey, you know what? It protects your lifestyle from the unexpected from just this price. So the price point becomes the key thing here. And even for critical illness plans, right? Like we will just tell you like, get covered up to 85% of critical illness claims from just this price. So essentially what attracts you here would be the price point. And also at the same time, for example, like one of the things that we covered at the time, we had this new benefit when COVID was like still relatively new. We had these complementary benefits for COVID-19. So we knew at that time people wanted that. So that's what we pitched. So this is more hard sell, where it's just really up to your face and we're just telling you what the product is. And most of the time, hard sell content works very well with people who are already interested in a product. So for example, right, someone who has already done their research on insurance and Takaful, you don't need to sit them down and tell them why insurance and Takaful is important. They already know. So if you go and repeat back that whole speech to them, you're essentially just wasting their time. And if there's something that I think people within this current like generation, generally people who are like within this 2020 era and all that, time is a very important thing to us. When people waste our time, we tend to get annoyed. So that's one thing we need to remember, right? Our content cannot be something that is not meaningful. And for the content to be meaningful to a person, you need to know what they need first and foremost. That's why it's so important to understand your target audience when you create a content. Okay, so this is hard sell content. So soft sell content is a lot more fun to read. Generally speaking, this is when people are still in the preliminary stages of their research. This is probably what will get them to go through the funnel. So this is a marketing analogy that we tend to use, right? That when it comes to your purchase decision, it's actually like a funnel. So you know how a funnel starts out really big at the top and then it narrows down at the bottom. So at the top here, we have all the awareness stuff. So it means like when people don't know about your brand, people don't know about your product, people don't know about your service, they all start at the top here. So they find out about your brand or your service first. So there'll be a lot of people here, but how many of this will actually go down to the second stage, which is to consider purchasing your product in the first place? So that is where you may need a bit more of a hard sell content, or you may need something that's a good balance of soft sell and hard sell. So when they know about your brand, now how do you create a good impression to them? It's like dating, right? Like if you meet, like if you meet someone new, they all know about you, they all get to know you, but how do they get attracted to you in the first place? So it's about how you pitch, right? How you show what kind of impression do you leave to people. So that's the second stage. So this is where you tell them what is important about the brand, what is important about the product, why is it beneficial in your life. And then the last stage that you have is essentially when they decide to purchase, and this is where like the loyalty stuff comes in also. So for certain brands that have a lot of repeat customers, so if you think like skincare, food, that sort of things where you will buy repetitively. So how the third stage is essentially how do I keep you from buying other brands, like essentially how do I keep you to buy my stuff, right? So these are the three things that we tend to consider when we create content. So at the top stage, what kind of content do we develop? Most likely it will be soft sell, or it could be hard sell depending on your approach. So it's very customized to the people you want to target and also what kind of impression you want your brand to leave. So for soft sell content like this, for example, one of the first one here is like, can youngsters suffer from heart disease? Now I'm going to ask a question in the chat room. First, for this particular content, right, who do you think we are targeting? You can just leave your yes, okay, youngster, young audience, 20s, 30s, correct, right? Yeah, this one is very obvious, right? So we make it very clear that this is actually for young people. We wanna be able to cover people with younger audiences, and this is what we're trying to say, that hey, our big three plan actually covers people from like 18 years old, super young. Then second thing I'm going to ask is, how do you think why would a young person read this in the first place? If, just put yourself in that shoes, right? Like imagine if you're young yourself, or even if you're already, like you're just young at heart, that's fine. If you see this kind of content, just picture, right, why would you be attracted to read it in the first place? Heart attack. Any other answers? You become anxious and curious. Okay. There, you guys are right. I'm waiting for like that one word to come up. Correct. Okay, so Amir said something very good here. Heart attack, something unexpected. Correct, because you see, right, how many 20 to 30-year-olds actually think about heart attacks and diseases? I can promise you, as someone who's in my 20s, I barely think about it because it's not something that is very real to us. You know how people tend to say, oh, young people they think they are like superheroes, they are invincible. So they tend to do things out of the norm. Same concept here. Nobody talks about heart attacks to young kids, you see. But what's interesting is that there are, so you don't see it in the visual, right? But it's actually in the caption that we attach along with this visual for an Instagram posting or whatnot. It's in the affiliate app, by the way. in the visual, in the caption, sorry, we did say, surprisingly, there's been an increase in heart diseases among young people. Now, this is not to scare people, right? But it's just more of the fact that, hey, there is a trend that we've noticed that there is an increase. Why? Why does this happen? So, So one thing we've noticed is that because younger people are starting to experience more sedentary lifestyle. Why? Because we work office jobs. People who were young back in the 60s, 70s don't work office jobs. They work manual labor. That's healthy for your body, you see. So they also have higher blood pressure because we experience more stress levels in this current generation, and higher cholesterol levels because there are also more readily available fast food. So you see, all of this, we actually talk about it in the caption, but the purpose of this content initially is just to capture your eye first. Can youngsters suffer heart diseases? It's a topic that people don't talk about enough, so it's unexpected. So that's one emotion that you evoke out of people. Just now someone said also anxious. Yes, that tends to be a secondary emotion that comes in, concern. So all of this, right, it happens at a really short span of time. You don't even notice that it's happening to you sometimes. You just tend to see, but you don't realize within the first 5 seconds of you seeing this, if you are a youngster yourself and this is something relevant to you, you will already experience the unexpected, like, oh, surprise. Then you start to feel anxious and you also start to feel curious, all within that 5 seconds. So it's a very rapid process. That's why nowadays your content also has to be really sharp, really fast. Same goes to, like, for example, okay, I'm going to do another exercise because this one is a little bit more subtle. This second one here where it says go big on your gig. When you see that, right, what do you think the target audience is? And what do you think we're trying to say here? Never mind, I think the second one, I just want to know, what do you think the target audience is just when you see that visual? Sales, gig workers, freelancer. Okay, now I'm glad because it means I did a good job with that visual, that one I created. Yes, correct. We are calling freelancers. We are essentially trying to pitch about how getting yourself protected can actually keep you running your business or your freelancing work. So in the caption for this visual, right, we actually talked a lot about people who are, let's say, content creators, freelance content creators. We are talking about people who are courier delivery services because they are essentially freelancers also. And we tell them how, like, getting yourself protected is actually a way for you to keep putting smiles on other customers' faces. So this is more of a feel-good kind of article, right? I don't mention product. In fact, I don't think you even know what product I'm referring to here. It doesn't matter because what I want you to do when you see that visual, right, is to feel good about yourself first. That will encourage you to read more because this visual has given you a positive emotion. Then you will tend to read more because it rewarded you essentially, right? So that is how soft sell content gets people interested. It's like a bait. It's not very obvious. I'm not talking about a specific product here, but it gets you interested to learn more. That's all a soft sell content needs to do. Okay, so now that I've explained all of that, how can you create content like that? How can you create good content that people want to read more and people know who is it for? Sometimes that's really important because I think for me, even as a consumer, right, it's not that your purpose with your content, I think people have this misconception a lot, but the purpose of your content, right, shouldn't be relevant for everyone. Then it's not a good content. It's too general. Nobody can relate to it. Your purpose, right, should be this particular group. They should be able to read the content and feel, oh, I can relate to that. And then you can create another content for a separate group. So for example, the way I would write for a target audience of 20-year-olds in uni and a mid-20-year-old who already is in their second job could be very different. And it could be about the same topic also. Like for example, if I want to talk about taxes, right? If I want to talk to uni students, I'll have to simplify the concept so easy, like to something super easy and digestible, and I have to make it really bite-sized. So nothing too much, like maybe just an outline enough. But for someone who's in their mid-20s who have probably done taxes before, but now they want to know how I can save more money with my taxes, then my content can be a bit more serious, or maybe I can use a bit more like terms that they are familiar with to create that content. So essentially, right, even just within this small age group also, there's several ways you can create the content and you still need to customize it. So as long as that group of people can resonate with your content, you're doing a good job. The purpose of your content should never be to like apply to massive group, because to be honest, if you think about it, let's say it's me, right? Like, let's say a skincare brand wants to pitch something to me, and the way they want to like pitch it to my mom, it needs to be very different the way they do it. Because if I can see it and I'm like, okay, I understand, and my mom sees the same, it means it's not specific enough. It's not specific enough that it will make me stop and actually like, oh, okay, this is interesting, I want to know more, because I wouldn't find it relevant to me anymore. Okay, so first thing we need to know when we create good content is what type of content you want to create. So this is what we were talking about just now. You want to create a soft sell or a hard sell content. And then second of all, do your research. So in anything that you want to talk about, anything you want to share about, right, you first need to create a certain level of credibility within the community. Like, how credible are you to talk about this? So in order to do that, you need to do your research first and make sure that you're getting your facts straight, essentially. And this is something that I want to also highlight when it comes to like the financial industry, right? I had this perception even before I joined, that only bankers and like Takaful agents or insurance agents can talk about finance. And then when I joined the company and we started working with influencers, I realized that so many of them are actually very financially savvy. They have a lot of very interesting insights that I feel like they should share with their followers, because I think people could benefit out of it. People could really learn a lot from them, and they already have that community that they can teach, But what was really sad to see was that a lot of them got really shy to talk about it because they felt like, oh, it's finance, it's too like it's a very scary topic. But in reality, right, I feel like maybe you can't talk about like corporate finances because you don't run that, right? But as a personal finance level, there was so much they could teach. And I remember like talking to a couple of like people within the financial like influencer industry, and most of them were not even from financial background. They just did so much good research that they were like, you know what, I can't help but I have to share it. This is really valuable data, and they are very clear about it. Like, hey, this is not something that only an expert can talk about. It's really general information that if you Google it, you can probably find it too. So it's that kind of information that you want to share, right? Like information that is so readily available for everyone. You're just making it easier for them to understand. That's essentially what good content do. And decide on a key message. So you can't fit like 3 different ideas into one content. It'll just be too much for people to watch and too much for people to digest in the first place. So focus on one thing at a time. And that way, right, 2 good things. One is that people actually receive what you say better. And 2, you have more content to spread out. So sometimes, right, when you do research for like one content, you end up having enough research to do like for 5 different content. So then after that, all you have to do is just develop the material, which is a lot easier if you ask me. And lastly, just start writing. Okay, so first one is what type of content you want to create, right? So like I mentioned, do you want a hard sell content or do you want a soft sell content? So hard sell, very much product oriented. Soft sell is more emotion oriented or value added type of content. So for example here, right, just since it's already side by side, I wanted to show you guys. So actually this Can Youngsters Suffer from Heart Disease is actually a Big 3 content. We related it to FWD Big 3 in the captions. But if you see like the way it's laid out here, it's very different. Like the hard sell one is very up to your face and we just tell you, this is the plan, this is what we cover, are you interested? So people who are already doing their research, this is something they will appreciate because we're saving them time. But the other one, right, it's more suitable for people who are still in the research phase or have not even considered getting a Takaful plan yet. So maybe once they read this content, right, you'll be like, oh yeah, actually that's true. I never thought about how financial protection is actually part of taking care of my health, making sure that if anything happens to my health, I have money to take care of myself. Then they maybe start doing a bit more research and they do a bit more research. So at this point, you know what, to be honest, they probably go to your competitor's page. They'll probably start doing research on like other insurance brands, other Takaful brands. It doesn't matter because you see why, 2 things will happen here. One, possibly they might buy from another brand. The possibility is definitely there and that's fine. Secondly, they will still, regardless, right? They will still have a very good perception of you in their head because you were the one that initiated the conversation to them. So in their minds, even if they don't purchase from you, let's say, right? when they talk to people and people go, hey, actually, I just heard you had this new medical plan, right? Like, where did you get it from? Oh, I got mine from XXX. But, right, actually, you can also, if you don't want that one, right, you can also consider FWD. You see, so that's how the ball gets rolling. So you may not get that customer there, you may get the customer from somewhere else. And this is also, it ties back down, right, to the whole affiliate concept, where at the end of the day, it's not that you're selling the product, you're just sharing about a product that you like, that you think, oh, it's beneficial to people around you. So in order for people to have that perception of your brand in the first place, you need to actually add value to their lives. So that's what a soft sell content would do. Sorry. Okay. And then next one is do your research. So first of all, find reliable sources for your content. So this is where I feel like it's very important to really study up on something that you want to share about. So this is not just in terms of insurance or Takaful, right? But even more commonly spoken about topics like skincare, makeup, cars even, right? Like anything you're interested in. With that interest only the knowledge comes. You get what I mean? Because you're interested to learn about it. So you start Googling about it, you learn about it. So you know more than the average person. So that's kind of like where you want to be at when you start talking about something. You may not be an expert, and that's okay. Nobody is actually really like a full-on expert on anything. It just comes with years of research and years of experience, or how much time you take to actually learn about something. So the best way to do that is to make sure that you're looking at sources that are reliable. Don't look at, for example, like some really dodgy blog that has like only talks about, let's say they talk about pets, and then suddenly they want to talk about skincare. You're probably going to get really confused at that point. You're just going to be like, huh? Why is this brand suddenly talking about this? So that sort of thing. But let's say, for example, if you're looking at health-related topics, right? Your safe bets are like hospital websites, journal articles. If you can read them, that would be great. Wikipedia is actually a really reliable source. People don't think it is, but it really is a very helpful source for you to learn the general overview of a topic. So just make sure wherever you're getting your information from, it's a reliable source of information. So in order to do this, right, there's a couple of things that you can use. For example, find recent sources. So especially if you're talking about anything, in fact, in any industry or like even in insurance and Takaful, right, there's always so many new things that you can try with your personal finances to see what works for you. So for example, that I can give is recently a lot of my friends have been really into this concept called the envelope budgeting. I don't know if you guys have heard it. So it's apparently like a substitute for the 50-30-20 rule. So once you start out budgeting, right, this is usually the first technique that a lot of like these financial gurus, or if you Google, so this will be the first technique that comes out, which is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income should go into your expenses, 30% of your income should go into your expenditure, and then 20% into your savings, something like that. So, but the problem is this is not really suitable for people who have very high commitments. So it means like maybe their bills are more than 50% of their income, and it's not something they can reduce. So then how do you go about that, right? So apparently like this person came up with this envelope budgeting technique, which apparently really worked for a lot of people, where she puts in money into different envelopes or like different bank accounts for different things. And over time, whenever she has extra money, she will put it accordingly into the envelope using a percentage basis. So she never runs out of money for her expenses, and she never runs out of her savings. So it was a really good way to kind of manage her money even when she had very high commitment. So this is the kind of budgeting rules that like it's not like something that you need to have a degree in finance to know, you know, like you can Google it and you can find it out. It's just a matter of like the interest to learn, the curiosity to know more. So for you to kind of learn more about these sort of things, you need to actually start looking for recent sources, because something in the 1980s may not be applicable now anymore, right? And then another one is, like I mentioned just now, just make sure that you're using verified sources. So make sure that if you're looking into health-related content, the government's website is actually really helpful for this, or even hospitals, that sort of things. So if you're looking at financial information, there are really credible, like I think, content creators out there for finance, the finance industry. They are not financial like qualified people, but they show a lot of tips and tricks for personal finance, so that they've tried out themselves, it works for them, so they're giving you a suggestion to try. Those people are fine too. So just make sure whoever you're looking for is a credible source. And lastly, just make sure you use reliable search engines. So this one, you can use Google, you can use Yahoo or whatnot, but just make sure that you're looking at the end of the day, again, you're looking at the reliable sources, not the really shady ones that you personally don't trust. Okay, so just some examples of like reliable sources here, right? Like if you're looking at health content, CDC, when I remember when COVID first came out, then only everybody started to know who WHO and CDC was, and they're essentially like the world's like guide to when it comes to epidemics and health issues and stuff. So they are very reliable sources. You know that anything that comes from them more or less has been researched and vetted for. So medical news articles are also very helpful, even for financial, right? And this is more maybe for your personal knowledge. Even for financial websites, there are so many websites nowadays that are very reliable, very credible, because they have people who thoroughly check the work, and they're so easy to read. It's like a 1-2 minute article that's super simple to read, and it's really worth your time to explore. Okay, so then, right, so now you have all this information. So let's say, for example, like you're doing a health related content for Wk3. And so you've come up with certain things you want to do. Let's say like, oh, I want to talk a bit about stroke. You know, maybe because it's a personal matter to me, I want to share a bit more about it. So maybe you share your personal experience, but personal experience is one thing, right? You need to support your personal experience with certain data as well. So maybe you just do a bit more research, like, oh, it turns out, right, actually this type of stroke is called ischemic. This type of stroke is called hemorrhagic. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm going to share about it now. So you share a little bit about these two types of stroke. And the reason why you want to share is because maybe it's a personal matter to you, so you start sharing about that in your caption. But also you want to tell people like, hey, you know what? One thing that I think was really important is the fact that like when you are financially secured for this sort of things, right, then at least you are not stressed out about the money. You can really focus on your health at that point of time. You know, you can really make sure that you are just 100% on your recovery rather than worrying about your medical bills. So this relates back to the insurance plan. So like for Wk3, for example. So you see, right, at the end of the day, you have this whole storyline you built out already. And this is just me coming up on the go. I didn't plan this. This is not scripted. I'm just coming up with it, right? So it's really simple if you see actually to come up with a storyline. But I center it around one thing, which is stroke. That's my key message. I wanted to talk about stroke. And then I incorporate all the other elements into that key message. So it's a lot easier for you to actually create content once you know what is the key thing you want to talk about. So once you have that key thing, then everything else just kind of naturally comes into it. So of course, when I first started doing content creation, the linking part is a little harder to do. But now that like I've done it for a longer time, it's a lot easier to do it because you've had the practice, especially on the topic that you're so familiar with. So when it comes to your key messages, right, first of all, you need to make sure that it's believable. So like, don't like, if you know, for example, like if you want to talk about stroke, right, like don't take like some random stroke that only occurs to like 2 out of 1 million people, then people probably are not going to be very interested in it. And there might not be a lot of reliable sources you can look into for that. But if you're talking about stroke that actually is not say super common, but it does happen to people are more likely to listen to it because it's a relevant thing to their life. And of course, secondly, the point of having more people talk about complicated things is actually to make that complicated thing simpler. So for example, like with finance, right, or like insurance and Takaful, it is a complicated information, I would say, simply because people don't talk enough about it. So there's no one out there to actually simplify the information for you. That's why it's so important to have content creators that actually talk about finance, because these are the people that understand all the complicated jargons and they took the time to learn. Yeah, it's not that they naturally understood, they took the time to learn it. And then because they reflect back on their learning journey and they're like, this took me a really long time to learn. Maybe it took me like 3 months to learn. Actually, right, I feel like if I can simplify this process, the person who learns from me can maybe take only 1 month to learn. So that's how you know you're adding value to people through your content, right? Because you took 6 months, but now this other person reading your content can learn what you learn in 6 months in 1 month. That's pretty impressive, you know? So as a content creator, that's essentially what you want to do. How can I simplify things for them? And like a good example of this was when I used to work for, like when I used to do freelance content development, it was a lot more interesting because I was not just learning about one industry. I was doing it for multiple industries. So skincare, a little bit on finance as well. And then like there was beauty and there was fashion and all that. So there was so much to learn at such little time. But I realized that because of that, right, because I was doing such intensive research, after a while, it got really easy to explain certain concepts to people. I had no interest in finance before I joined FWD, but now I feel like if you sit down and you ask me what insurance is, I can give you a very good explanation of it. Simply because I've been so exposed to the industry. I don't think I'm like a super expert, but I do know, like, because I'm in the industry, I do know more than the average person. And that's essentially what you want to do, right? You want to be able to know more than the average person so that when the next person comes and they ask you, you know what to answer, you know what to say, and that's how you create good content. At the end of the day, always think of your content like a conversation. What are you trying to say to this person? So you always need to center back down to one key message. So of course, another thing, be positive about it. Use the right tone. Use active language. Don't. One thing that I think a lot of people try to do when it comes to social media content is to have that enthusiasm in it. And I think this is where I would put that enthusiasm category under. It's about how passionate are you to talk about this key message? How interested are you? How much do you believe that this is really going to make a difference in another person's life? So before you can convince another person that this thing is going to be beneficial to you, right, you first need to convince yourself. And I feel like once you are able to convince yourself, all these key messages part will come quite naturally to you, because it will be believable. You yourself believe in it. So of course it will be believable. Because you have very good understanding of it out of your interest to learn, you can explain it to another person in a simplified way. So it makes it easy to understand. And because you're enthusiastic about it, you will know what is the right tone to use, how to show it in a positive manner, and how to be enthusiastic about it. And lastly, is it purposeful? Of course, it's going to be purposeful once you believe that it's purposeful in your life. So it all comes back down, right, before you want to create a content. That's why the research part is really important, because it's at that point that you will learn a lot and you will feel like that interest to build in you. Like, I always believe in this, that interest is really something that we can build, that we have actually absolute control over. And I think that's where even when I joined, like for example, FWD, and I've mentioned before in the sessions that I actually didn't have a lot of experience with finance. So when I came in and I had so much information around me, I just really took the opportunity to say, you know what, this is not a conversation that people have a lot. This is a great opportunity for me to learn. So that's the kind of mindset that when you jump into the research, not so much about to have ulterior motive, but just for yourself, right? You're just like, I want to learn about this. I want to know more. Naturally, you will build that interest towards that thing. And then I think this comes naturally to a lot of people. When you have that interest in it, right, that's all you want to talk about. You will end up having that conversation with your friends, your families, and you're going to end up wanting to write about it if you are a content creator. So it's a very natural flow. I'm just showing it in a way that's it breaks down the natural flow, but essentially it really starts from there. The interest, which comes from the research that you do. Okay, so now you have all this information and you can actually really start writing the content that you want to do. So let's do this together. So first of all, let's assume that we want to do a soft sell content. And let's say you want to pick one thing from here that you want to really talk about. So let's say we want to talk about Big 3 critical illness protection plan today. So this plan, it covers for heart attack, stroke, and cancer. There is a 20,000 death benefit, but it also covers these 3 critical illnesses now for up to 250,000. On top of that, this plan also has another add-on benefit that can cover you for early neurological and heart disorders. So can someone just comment in the chat, anyone, which one would you like to cover? Like which particular, like out of these 4 bubbles here, right? Which one do you want to really talk about? You can even just mention the bubble color and we'll move from there. CI, orange or green? Okay, orange or green. Okay, someone else said CI, so we're going to go with the green one. So let's talk about something that's easier, I think, for everyone to digest also. That this plan covers for cancer, heart attack, and stroke. So what's interesting here is if you actually do a couple of research on medical plans, it's almost unheard of a medical plan to only cover 3 critical illness. In fact, a lot of plans, what they like to do is they like to boast about how many critical illness they can cover. Some will cover up to 327 for as low as like this so and so price. But what FWD did was actually we did a little bit of research, and we found out that, yeah, you're right. We should have a plan that covers for all of that. Not that that's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing that they cover for all of that. But the problem here is, right, out of that 300 plus plans that we cover, in fact, like FWD also, we have a plan that covers for all like these really lengthy CIs. But it's just that they're not very focused. So for example, right, because it covers for so many things, the price also naturally will be higher. So it means a lot of younger people, or maybe people who don't have the kind of enough income to kind of like allocate money for this, right? It just restricts their options a lot. You know, some people who maybe are not familiar with insurance, they may not want to invest so much into it, just yet they don't have an option for them. So what FWD did was say like, okay, let's look at our medical claims, right? And see which plans are like, or which CIs are actually really being claimed for. And we realized that actually 85% of the claims were made out of these 3 diagnoses, which is cancer, heart attack, and stroke. If you think about it, if I compare these 3 and I tell you like cardiomyopathy or something like that, right? You're probably not going to recognize this term, but you'll recognize these 3 terms because it's just naturally more common. So for us, we thought, okay, you know what? It's not that you don't need a comprehensive medical plan, you should have one, but it's more likely that you're going to get these 3 if anything were to happen to you, simply put. So let's just have a plan for this so that people have that option to get something that's affordable, but still comprehensive coverage to a certain extent. So that was what the plan wanted to do. And we tested this out across Indonesia, Singapore and Hong Kong before it came to Malaysia. And across all markets, it's a really good plan that sells. And even in Malaysia, this is one of our best-selling plans, simply because it really focuses on what the people need, right? So even in the content you want to create, let's say you want to talk about soft sell content, you want to make sure that you're really just focusing on these 3 things, like cancer, heart attack, and stroke. So from this point also, there's 2 things you can do. You can go even deeper and just talk about one. So for example, can youngsters suffer from heart attack? We're only talking about one. But sometimes what we like to do is we go from a different route. We can talk about the financial aspect of it. So this is just me like bouncing off ideas of how easy it is to come up with the content when you have the research prior to it. So because I've done my research in this brand and like the product and also like the topics related around this product, I know that, okay, I can talk about the health side of it, but I can also talk about the financial side of it. For example, how much does it cost averagely for a Malaysian to to cover their cancer cost treatments? And this is not just talking about your bills in the hospital. I'm talking about transportation. I'm talking about equipment that you may need, talking about medicinal charges. I'm talking about outpatient therapy. So there's a lot of things that are like not talked about when it comes to like, if like cancer treatments or heart attack treatments and stuff. So when we started focusing on that and we talked about content with that, we noticed that people responded better. So for example, instead of just telling you like, oh, cancer treatments are really expensive. Yeah, but everyone knows that. Everyone knows cancer treatments are expensive. But just how much does it cost? So I actually did, we all did our research, the team, we looked to like public hospitals, private hospitals, what are the charges like? And surprisingly, you know what, Malaysian public healthcare is really good. It's quite affordable. If you go to a government hospital, it's really quite affordable. But then, right, we were thinking, why would someone need like lump sum payment of 250,000, right? And I thought about it. Yeah, okay, government may not charge you a lot for your treatments or for your medicinal charges, or even let's say like you have to go for physio and stuff with like stroke and stuff, right? Like usually the aftercare treatment is like physio and all. But then we realized something. Most people actually struggle where, like a hidden cost of it is transportation. Because let's say if you have physio 4 times a week and you stay like 20 minutes away from the hospital and you have to go there, and let's say you stay in the hospital for another 3 hours, chances are someone's going to teman you, which means 2 things. One, you are traveling back and forth to this new place for 4 days. Okay, think about how when you go to work and how your transportation fluctuates really high up. Same goes, this is a new route that you're taking in your daily life, right? That's 1. 2, with all of that you're juggling, would you have time to actually cook and pack food and bring there? Because chances are, no, you're probably going to end up buying something in the hospital, which also costs additional money. And when you accumulate that, suddenly people realize like, yo, I'm like really stretching my budget already. This is really tight for me because this is new expenses for me. And true enough, we see this a lot with people who have claimed any insurance benefit before. They always say that it's not the big charges that kill you sometimes, because chances are you already have an insurance plan for it, or you're covered under your company for it. So your medical charges, your outpatient treatment, your medicinal charges, all of that covered. But then it's these little things that are not accounted for. You don't think about it because you've never had to go through the experience, right? But these people who have, they come back and they tell people and they go like, no, you don't understand. The transportation, the food, even like additional equipment just to make your life more comfortable. Because at that point of time, takkan you want to live in survival mode only, right? So you obviously would need certain things to make your life a bit more comfortable or to accommodate certain temporary conditions you may have. So those sort of things that we realize, this is what people are not talking about. This is what people are not talking about when it comes to getting a protection plan like Wk3. No strings attached. We don't ask you what you are using the money for. We just give you that sum covered the minute you are diagnosed, because we know that there's all these additional charges that will require certain funding. And let's say, for example, if you cannot work anymore, that temporary period of time, you just need something to pay for your basic expenses. So from a financial perspective, this is what we usually would talk about. We would tell people, hey, these are the hidden costs that happen when you do fall sick. This is how it can accumulate, and this is why the plan is important to you. So it's actually showing people how it can add value to their life, and we're not scaring you. We're not telling you like, one thing that FWD is very firm on is that we do not use fear tactic. We really do not like it. We don't go like, hey, this thing's going to happen to you. It's scary. We just tell you like, this is the facts and figures. It's a decision that you can evaluate. And you know what? The reason why you should get protected is because it gives you hope for the future, making sure that things are ease for you in any circumstance. So when you do your content creation, right, all of this should actually be penned down. Like whatever, like I'm bouncing off the ideas here, it's actually something you should draw like the mind map, come up with all these ideas. So let's say you have all these ideas now, so which one I want to talk about? Like for example, for me right now, I've talked about so many different parts. Takkan I want to put all of this in one visual? That's never going to happen. So now I need to choose one side. So let's say if you talk about the CI, I'm going to choose the health side of it. Let's just talk about the health part of it first, because I want to get people interested in thinking about their health first. So after I've made that decision, I will do a little bit more research. So let's say I might ask like, why do we need hospital income plans, or why is health protection so important? I may start asking these kind of questions, or like who is vulnerable to health conditions. So then I know which target audience to start with and all that. So when I'm doing this research, it's really important to bear in mind, like I need to come from I need to do my research on a believable source. It needs to be simple and easy to understand. So if I myself take a hard time to understand the content, that's actually a good thing. So if you are having a hard time understanding the content, that's actually a good thing, because it means there's an opportunity here to simplify things, and that's where you can add value to people. Every single time, like when we do research for like our content materials and stuff, anytime that it feels a little complicated, sit down, try to untangle it, try to really understand it, because once you can understand it, then you can write about it in a very simplified manner. And a lot of people are very grateful for that, because you are saving them time. And like I mentioned, time is a very important asset to people nowadays. But make sure it's positive. Like I said, I think I can speak for everyone here, right? Nobody likes a fear tactic. Nobody enjoys someone coming up to you and telling you that, oh my God, you're going to get cancer or something like that. So we don't do that. Don't do that, right? It's a really uncomfortable way to start a conversation. So let's keep it positive. Just educate. Always come from the perspective of educating people. And I think a lot of people can appreciate that. And lastly, just be purposeful about it. Understand why is it important. Okay, so now you have developed all of that and you realize, okay, I want to talk about how youngsters, so you want to focus on youngsters because you realize, one, let me tell you my thought process when we created this, right? One, nobody talks about how critical illnesses can affect younger people. Every time the conversation comes out, it's always about someone who's already in their middle age. Nobody talks about how young people are actually very vulnerable to it now because of our high pressure environments. Like the work environment is very high paced nowadays. It's very fast. It does contribute to a lot of pressure. People don't talk about how like our lifestyle, because when you work a 9 to 6, it can be a little bit harder for you to work out or have a balanced lifestyle. It can also mean that you're not eating well. So all of this actually can contribute to a heart disease. So young people are not talked to about these kind of conversations because previously it never affected them. But now, because their lifestyle is starting to get more risky in that sense, the conversation needs to be started. So this is actually one of the big three content that does really well in our affiliate app, because people really enjoy learning about it. It's something that's interesting to them. Okay, so now that you have your visual, come up with all of this, how do you write your caption? Captions are really interesting because they only matter once your visual attracts people. So it still comes back down to your visual, right? Like how do you capture people's attention? And once you've done that, this is like your caption is where you kind of really get down to the details and like the specifics, because people are already interested. It means their attention span is longer now. So first, your caption needs to talk about the intention of this visual. Why did you actually post this visual? That's where it should go into your caption. It needs to be engaging still, so don't ramble on. It's still, when it's writing, right, it's always important to see how can I minimize the amount of words, but also still keep it very valuable. So it means how to make it concise. That's always a very important part of writing captions. Make it relatable. Keep it relaxed. Don't make it sound so formal in the first place. Sometimes people just don't like that, right? And then make it reliable. So make sure that you're not making false promises. You're not exaggerating things. You're not saying something that you actually didn't do research on, that sort of things. Just keep it very relatable. And I like to see that in social media, right? Sometimes your personal experiences can be the most valuable research there is, you see. So for example, we see this a lot. Like, for example, like when someone actually goes through something health related, they just generally tend to be a bit more interested in insurance after that, simply because it's very relevant to their life already. They can see the importance of it, for example. So they always draw from their own personal experience and then like support it with data. So for example, like they may say like, I was very grateful that I had this, and it really showed me why insurance, like, because I had this insurance when I was going through this, like, it really showed me why it's important, that sort of thing. And then they say, and you know what, I did a bit more research and then I found out this. So people like to listen to your personal stories. And then when you support it with data, right, you're essentially giving them a very valuable content there and there. You're adding value to their life already. And then lastly, a call to action. So naturally, whenever you're selling something or whenever like you are sharing about anything, and this is not just for sharing content that is sellable, by the way, it could really be in anything. Like, for example, if you're writing a content to add value into people's life, let's say you're talking about like budgeting rules or anything. It really could be anything, maybe like a positive self-reflective sort of like journey that you have or anything. What do you want people to do next? That's always the question. What is this content supposed to inspire people to do? So for example, if you're talking about like some self-help journey, right, and you're reflecting on your own life, at the end, right, there must be something you want people to initiate or do. So it could be what you did yourself. So for example, it could be like, I did this, why don't you try it out and let me know what let me know how it works for you. That's a call to action. It's not selling something. It's just a call to action, like asking people what to act on. So when you're selling something, it's essentially usually where to direct people towards that. So a plan, a service, a product, or whatnot. So that's your call to action when you are sharing about something. What is the good length of the captions? Okay, so this differs from social media depending on where, but generally, right, this is something that I would say a little bit of understanding on the social media can be very helpful. So for example, and this is not hard to do, by the way, it's very, very straightforward. So for example, right, I just want you to picture like a social media in your head. Just give me an example, maybe in the chat, then I can give you like how I go through that process. Any social media can be, just name me one that you're very familiar with. Facebook. Okay, good. Right. So if you look at Facebook, right, when you scroll through the news feed, the one where like you see what people post and stuff, just start observing roughly how long are the captions. Start observing how often do people post pictures, And when people post pictures, right, and when they don't post pictures, right, which one seems to have more likes and more comments? General rule of thumb, those with pictures tend to perform better, like I mentioned. Facebook most likely will have very long captions because it's very blog oriented. So people go into Facebook with the perception of they're going to have to read a bit. Now, let's take another example. Can you give me another social media maybe that you go into after Facebook, like another one that you're familiar with? Okay, great. Let's take Instagram. Oh, LinkedIn is also a great example. But let's take Instagram. Now think about it, right? If you go on Facebook and you go on Instagram, which one will have a longer caption? There's a couple more questions here, so don't worry, I'll come to it in a bit. Instagram. I noticed now even Vivi Yusuf making a story on her caption. This new? Very good observation. Okay, so you're right. Usually, right? Okay, let me tell you the journey of social media, which is very interesting. Last time, people used to post a lot on Facebook, like more on like a blog story kind of style, where they kind of share a lot about their personal life there. And then Instagram happened, and Instagram started out as a photo sharing app. At the end of the day, that's what Instagram is. It's to share photos. And if you notice previously, right, people used to just post really short captions with it. But then when TikTok came about, I noticed, and I really put it on TikTok specifically because I noticed that when TikTok became famous, people started using Instagram, or at the very least the millennials, right? Like the one, because Facebook, I feel like it's predominantly a lot of people within the middle age, like middle age onwards, they still use Facebook a lot. But the millennials, I feel like because TikTok is very much controlled by the Generation Z, so it's a very Gen Z app, you know what I mean? And then like Instagram became like the millennials' Facebook. They start sharing everything there and they become more personal on Instagram. When previously Instagram used to be very polished. You know, it used to be like only the prettiest pictures that you will post, but now people will show behind the scenes, things that are happening in their life. It becomes very much more like a blog, which is very interesting. And you're right, this is a new trend that we're noticing. And I have a very strong feeling, this is not something that I've validated with research yet, but I have a very strong feeling this is just generally the life cycle of social media nowadays. That when something new becomes popular, the previous one will have a shift in the way it is engaged with. So that's why I don't want to give you a straight answer when it comes to how long the caption should be and stuff, because you know why? Two things. It really depends on how the trend is like on that account, on that social media now. And two, who are you referring to? Who are you talking about? Because let's take Vivi Yusuf again, right? So Vivi Yusuf is a personal brand of her own. People know her so well, right? For a lot of things, her family, her company, and everything. So when she shares something, she writes like 2,000 characters long of like caption, so people will read. She has fan base that will read. Now I want you to picture this. So Vivi Yusuf has a company called Fashion Ballet, right? Imagine if Fashion Ballet, a business brand, starts writing 2,000 characters caption long. You think you're gonna read that? I highly doubt so. I highly doubt anyone here will read a really long story from a brand. Nobody's going to read it because people know that the brand is selling. It's so obviously it's a brand. It sells, right? But for example, for Vivi, right, what she sells is her personal branding. It's herself. Like she's selling her personality, her story, her family, right? Like her life, essentially. That's what she's sharing with you, so people will be invested to learn more. Same goes to you. So it really depends on what you're utilizing all of this information for. So for example, if you're creating content for your personal Instagram, right, that's where you're doing your essentially business, or you're sharing or whatnot, anything. If it's personal branding that you build, right, you can get away with longer captions most of the time because people are just naturally very interested to learn about other people. If you think no one is interested in you, I promise you, go post a heartfelt caption today on your Instagram. I tell you, you will either get more comments or you will get more likes. People are just generally very interested in learning about other people. I don't know what's the psychology behind it, but it's just how it is. But if you go and try that on a brand, like when you're selling a product, it's probably not going to gain a lot of engagement, to be honest. So I hope that answers your question a bit. So generally speaking, it really depends on the social media app itself. So like Facebook, probably quite long. Instagram depends again on your target audience, right? And then for Twitter, short and concise, simply because the Twitter social media is memang created to be that way. The people who created it have already fixed it in that way. That's why you can only write like 280 characters long. TikTok, short as well. Maximum, they have done this research before. Previously, people would watch like up to a 45-second video. Nowadays, averagely people watch 30 seconds or lesser. If not, it just like people will scroll up, because TikTok, when they go in, right, they're expecting very bite-sized content. So even your caption should be like honestly 5 words or lesser. Very short. LinkedIn honestly is interesting because I feel like people who go on LinkedIn and are very like active on LinkedIn, they're very invested in the app. So you can quite get away with longer captions there also, because people are in the mode to like, I don't know, when people go on LinkedIn, they are in the mood for self-development, building connections, and learning in terms of a professional aspect. So I feel like with LinkedIn, you can definitely get away with long captions. People will read it. I've worked on a LinkedIn page before, and I noticed that it's very easy to grow when you just share a lot about your personal, like heartfelt sort of postings. People really resonate with it. Someone asked about, okay, ideal freelancing in renewing commercial vehicle and personal road tag and permits. How can I do soft selling? Okay, there is actually this particular company. Hold on, let me see if I can find it again. Just now when I saw that question, right, it was immediately reminded of this insurance company, and I think they do a really good job at it. It's called, you can look them up. It's called Lemonade. It's actually a US company. It's a US insurance company. But what's interesting about them is they only do one thing, which is renter's insurance. Now, if you're not familiar with it, in US, if you rent a place, right, the responsible thing to do is to get renter's insurance, just in case anything happens, you are insured and you don't have to pay the agreement penalty yourself. The insurance will pay it for you. And what I like about this brand is that they are 100% digital. They have no agency like products, nothing. It's 100% digital. They only focus on renter's insurance. So it sounds very similar to yours, where you only focus on vehicle insurance, right? Be it personal road tax or commercial ones. And the way they create the story is very interesting. They will come and, like, for example, right, they have these like 10-second videos. I can maybe share the links here later. It's very good research, I feel, for a lot of you, where they talk about different lifestyles. So for example, they may show like, they would say things like, protect your yoga, like your yoga equipment, your coffee machine, and your subwoofer Wi-Fi, and this is catering to a specific lifestyle, which is general. And then they will like show the person there, right? And it's actually like this girl who like is a freelancer and she's a musician. So it fits with the lifestyle of a freelance musician in their 20s. And if you think about it, someone who's renting in US, chances are freelancer, because they have enough money to rent there. It's really expensive. And they're young because if you're older, you tend to buy a house. And then, they also showed things like, for example, like protect your your laptop, your Mac. And they are very specific, because in US, you can actually use brand names, right? So they will say things like, protect your MacBook, your Netflix account, and this from just whatever price of the renter's insurance. So they're saying like, then I think one of their captions is like, insurance made easy or something like that. So what's interesting is that they actually do really, really well in the US, and keep like, oh my God, all the insurance companies will always use Lemonade as a really good example of digital insurance, which they are. Yeah. I will share some sample videos later, and I think I'll also add this in the slides, because I do feel like you can learn so much from their videos. It's very engaging to watch. Sometimes I just like to go on their page and watch at their videos, because they're very entertaining, and it's a bit fun also, because they have so many videos for different lifestyles, right? That like I will just go through one by one to see which one relates most to me. And I feel like that's how you did a really good job with your content when people actually want to learn more about your brand, even though you're actually just selling something, right? But it works. I'm very interested. Honestly speaking, if I was in US and I was looking for renters insurance, Lemonade would have definitely sold me over. Like, I would have definitely gotten my insurance for them. Yeah, so that's like a template, correct? So they actually have like, actually most good content do that, right? You have a template in mind and you kind of follow that, like that template, because it really sticks very strongly to your brand. That's you're very accurate there when you say that following a template actually really helps. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys a sample of a caption here. So we start out with something really engaging, right? So I'm just taking back the title from the visual, Can Youngsters Suffer from Heart Disease? And then to keep it relatable, I get very specific. Honestly, to keep things relatable in any of your content, right, it's just about being specific. So for example, okay, so here it says like, you probably don't think that heart diseases can surface at a young age. But the fact is, Malaysians suffer heart attacks at a younger age compared to those in developed countries. So I could have said here, for example, I could have used another data and just said like, but the fact is, youngsters are suffering heart attacks at a younger age now. But if I say that, right, people don't really like resonate with it. It's very psychological. It's like very slight differences, right? But when I see Malaysians, and if you're Malaysian, you tend to perk up because you relate to that word. You tend to pay attention a bit more. It's just how it is. Or for example, if let's say someone says something that's very relevant to you, you just tend to focus a bit more on it, right? So a good example I can give of this is like people who like to read astrology. If you say their star sign to them, right, I tell you to give you 100% focus to you after that. It's just how it works. And okay, so then that's the relatable part. So then the intention part, right, is essentially, okay, so what can you do to make sure your heart is protected? So we start off with the things that people generally already know, like besides taking care of your health and doing regular screenings from a young age. So these are two things you should do, and most people know this. People don't know, however, that you're supposed to prepare yourself financially with a protection plan like Wk3. So this is where we already pitch the product, but it's only much later on. You see on the second paragraph there, only we pitch. Even this, to be very honest with you, I don't think it's the best caption out there. And the reason why I'm going to tell you is this. As a company, right, we need to make sure, like, so the intention behind this visual actually is for us to put it up on the affiliate app. So if you've opened up the affiliate app, you will see that there are so many content that we create there, and it's actually for the affiliates to customize it themselves. We cannot be so customizable here because we're trying to accommodate to so many different affiliates of different ages and races and genders. So to be honest, this is not the most customizable caption. A good customized caption is if the affiliate takes this and they go, this is like full-fledged, really good marketing strategy, like if you ask me. They see this caption and they go, oh, this is a good one, I want to share. But before I share this, I want to build interest first. So I go on my Instagram page, I build a poll on my Insta story. Do you think youngsters suffer from heart attacks often? Yes, no. So people already learn about it, right? They're like, oh yes, no, they get excited to play the poll. Then maybe like 3-4 hours later, or maybe even the next day, right? Because Instagram stories are 24 hours long. The next day, they will post this and they go, for those of you who said, yes, you're right, youngsters do suffer from heart disease. And then they go like, you may think that you're 20 now and you can drink 30 cups of coffee and nothing will happen. But the truth is, Malaysians are suffering from heart attack at a much younger age. And it's also been the leading cause of death in Malaysia for the past 30 years. But this is not to freak you out, okay? This is just general knowledge. But how can you prevent this? Make sure you take care of your health. And then maybe they'll put in the bracket and go like, stop drinking coffee so much and maybe sleep earlier than 2 a.m. instead of scrolling on your TikTok. Don't forget to do your regular screenings. If you can pay for your Starbucks, you can pay for your regular screenings. You know, that sort of thing. So you make it very customizable to that group and it's entertaining to read. So that's how you actually can customize the content. Unfortunately, on a brand level, I cannot do that, because I have to cater this content across so many different affiliates. So they all have their different styles. That's why if you are in the affiliate app, right, and you're playing around with it, I highly recommend, even if you're not posting, if you post, great, but if you're not, just go to the captions and use this as a little exercise for you. How would you customize the captions we've created there to suit the way you speak to a target audience that you're intending it for? Because once you're able to do that, I can tell you, you may not see the result now, but you will definitely see it over time. People get really amused by what you write. People feel like you're adding value to their life. It just is a very natural occurrence. It's not a luck thing. It's really very much just on your skill. And skill is something I always believe you can develop. It's something that you can learn. So yeah. All right. Okay. So we have all this overwhelming, a lot of information. I know. Don't worry. As usual, the slides, I will pass it to Rani. But now there is this assignment thing. Before I get into the assignment, sorry. Okay, I want to show you guys this place. In case you were not here last week, we are actually doing this Get Employed Affiliates Award. So basically what this means is just that we are going to be giving out touch and go vouchers to top 5 affiliates across this like awards lah. So for each award, we will be choosing 5 people, and there's 4 awards here. It means we're choosing 20 people. How many people in this chat room? There's 24 people. Chances are 20 of you can win something as long as you just try. That's it. That's it. You don't even have to do anything else. You just have to try. Honestly, it's so simple. Okay, so first one, which relates to today's topic, is we will be giving out vouchers to top 5 people who did the assignments and we think they did it the best. So let's say out of 20 of you who do it here, we will choose the top 5 that did it best and we will give you a touch and go voucher. It's as simple as that. You just have to try, like I said. And then second one, okay, this one is more result oriented lah. This is called the Takaful Whisperer. Basically what it means is that if you are the top 5 affiliates with sales by number of cases, you will also get a voucher. Again, no minimum number here. All you have to do is just actually be able to get a referral out of your affiliate app. And this is on top of the referral you already get in your affiliate app, by the way. Generally speaking, per year lah, because usually people pay by month, right? But what we will do is we will pay your referrals by the whole year. So for example, if let's say someone buys like Wk3 from you, like when they click on the link, they purchase Wk3. Wk3 averagely, it will cost about 25 a month. So let's say if I times that by 12, you already get 30 ringgit from that one sale. So if you, let's say, even if you get 2 to 3 sales, you already get like about 100 ringgit, and that's only for Wk3. And most of the time, if you get someone who's like, let's say, asking for a larger sum covered, which is most of the time they will tend to do that. We've had affiliates, one case also can get 100. And it's not impossible, to be honest. It's actually really doable. So if you can be the top 5 affiliates with sales, you will also get on top of that some touch and go vouchers. And we will probably recruit you as a super affiliate. And I will share that in week 5, the last week, because I don't want to disrupt the flow. So stay tuned until the last week so you can know what that's about. Okay, the third one is merit based on participation. So basically, I think I've sent this to Rani. It's an Excel sheet. It's like a logbook Excel sheet. All you have to do is just write the things you've done for this mastery session. So 2 things. One is the ones that you've attended. So just log in the sessions you've attended. Log in the Kahoot sessions that you've done. And also, just log in any affiliate activities you've done. So let's say if you download the affiliate app and you start sharing, all you have to do is just tell me like where you shared it and when. If you share, and this one, right, we're not even measuring sales, we're not measuring clicks, nothing. We're just asking you to share. As long as you have the highest number of activity, for example, you share the most or you've come for all the classes and all of that, you will win the voucher. That's it. As long as you're the top 5 most active person, you win the voucher. So really very much on an engagement basis. And lastly, this one for those of you who want to be an influencer or content creator, I hope this motivates you a bit more because we will also be giving people with the highest number of likes and comments. So this is based on the logbook, yes. I'm really asking all of you to just do the logbook. You can send it to me on week 4. So it means next week I will request for it by like Friday lah. So you guys have time to send it in and like fill it up and all that. So you just have to send it to me. And what we will do is we will actually go through it and we will see like who has the most likes and comments on their Instagram pages or like their like Facebook or whatnot. And yeah, that's it. And then whoever has the most, we will give you the vouchers. We will also contact you personally lah. Like, let's say, for example, if you don't leave your Instagram account, you don't want to share to us like that, and we can reach out to you personally. No worries. Or I can ask Rani to ask you. But yeah, we do have all these vouchers we want to give away. So please join. And honestly, aside from the vouchers also, this assignment that I'm about to show you, it will be really helpful for whatever content development that you want to do in the future. It's really good practice. And the perk of it is that if you do this assignment, I will be able to feedback on it. And not just me, my team, which means my bosses, who are a lot more expert than me, by the way, they can have a chance to look at your assignments and actually tell you like what you're doing right, where you can improve on. This is really valuable feedback, so I hope you guys do it. Okay, so now the assignment is super simple. It's basically what we've been doing in this session. Choose one content style and choose one product from here. So you can choose whether you want to do a soft sell content or a hard sell content. And then choose one of these products. So you can either choose FWD Flexi Cover Group Plan, which I've linked it here, or FWD Big 3 Plan, which I've linked it here also. You can have the information in the week 2 slides, they're in there, but at the same time, I would really suggest that you go into the website and build your content from based on what is in the website. So you can do a soft sell content, you can do a hard sell content. And like I mentioned, you can submit this content to me. I will put in my email address in this slide later as well at the bottom here. So you can just submit the content to me and then we will actually review it. And on week 5, we will have a discussion for all the content that we shared. And we will also announce the winners there. So you have 2 weeks. Actually, next week also we have another mini assignment. Don't worry, this stuff, I promise you, it won't take you long. Honestly, to create your first ever content might just take you an hour at most. If you can use the right tools, I will include all of that in the slides as well. I will show you where you can get the tools and everything. You can start playing around with it. Once you get into the groove of this, you can already try it out for all the other contents you do outside. So for example, someone just now who does the vehicle insurance and road tax, that one, right? Sorry, it's not road tax. Insurance is road tax. Okay. It's actually quite related. So you can try it out here, send it over, and then you can already start implementing whatever you've learned here into your own personal businesses. And I just really hope that it helps you out, because this is, like, again, I've mentioned, content creation is so important in your business development. And once you create good content, right, with a little bit of patience, you will see that it will actually benefit you in the long run. So, okay, so this is it for today's session. We do have the Kahoots to stay for a little bit. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can drop it down below. I will attend to them now while I open the Kahoot. Question from our participant, Sushila. If someone wants to purchase any of the insurance policies, is it also via the app? Okay, yes, you're right. So you can actually purchase it through the app. So for example, right, hold on. If you guys open the affiliate app, I wish I had the screenshot. Oh, wait, I think I do. Hold on. Let me just share with you the second week's slide so you can see what I mean.
So Sheila actually had attended last week, Diana, but today she had something on, so she texted this question.
I see. Okay, then yes, just to answer everyone here as well, yes, correct. You can actually purchase it through the app. You can purchase it through our website also, that's fine. But I would suggest actually buy it through the app because you get your referral fee. So you're getting like free money.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe you can show everybody how to do it, because then it'll be recorded here.
Oh, can. Yeah, hold on. Let me just open the second week slide again because it's in there. Someone asked whether this is including the visual design for the assignment. Yes, it is. Don't worry, I'm not expecting you guys to be like Adobe Photoshop experts. So I will give you guys a couple of links later where you can actually use templates to create your visual design. Super straightforward. I promise you, even if you do not have a if you do not even have a design background, you can definitely use all these websites to help with your development or like creating the visual. Okay. Hold on, let me just see, how do I share this? Okay, all right. So actually, when you open up your affiliate app, right, the first thing you're gonna see is this page over here. Okay, so you're going to see this page over here, the first one here where it shows you your performance and tracking and everything. If you're planning to purchase, just ignore this first and click on the share button at the bottom here. It's the chat bubble with the heart. And then go to online products. When you come here, there will be a few like I think online products that are available, we will mention which product is it for. Hold on, let me just open it here also to kind of see how to show you guys this. Okay, so when you click on online products, there's two ways you can do this. One is that at the top here, right, this one the screenshot's a bit inaccurate lah, but at the top here, right, instead of saying young family and whatnot, it will actually say the product name. So it will say whether it's Protect Direct, Big3 or whatever. So one thing you can do is just go to any of the product that you want to purchase. Let's say if you want to purchase Big3, you look for a Big3 plan, and then you click Quick Share, and then they will automatically give you this custom link that you see here. So let's say if you like go to Facebook or whatever, you just click, like you can click your own notes also, it's fine. You can click on notes and then just paste the caption. There will be the link there. Click on that link, make your purchase through that. That is your custom link. So whatever purchase you make through that custom link, you will actually get the referral fee for it, even if it's your own plan. You can definitely do that, no worries. So I would highly recommend you guys do that, because then at least you get like referral feedback, and it's not little amount. So for example, if let's say even if you pay by monthly, yeah, like let's say monthly you pay like 30 ringgit per plan lah, and 30 ringgit, let's say if you times by 12 is 360, which means that you already get 36 ringgit back, which basically means your first month plan you didn't pay for it at all, because you got the money back. So that's my point. Definitely get it from the affiliate app. You can get it online, but I would suggest just go through your affiliate app, and at least you get, you know, your first month participation contribution back. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's another question here. I see the dashboard first. Oh, no worries. Yes, correct. So you have to give your bank details if you want to start, because that, and please make sure you fill it up correctly, because that is where we will actually bank in the money to you. We will go through your bank account lah, and it will be sent in about 1 month or 2 months or so. So if you're going to get really active in the affiliate app, I would suggest do fill it up, start sharing, because it's once you build the traction, right, and you build the momentum. Yeah. If I share via LinkedIn, not in the share selection, would it be detected by the affiliate app? Yes, if you use a custom link. So let's say, for example, if you want to share on a social media that's not there, right, I would suggest just share it to your notes first, paste the caption on your notes. It doesn't matter, honestly, guys, it doesn't matter where you share it. You can share it anywhere. Is how we will track it, right, is essentially this custom affiliate link here. If you see the tinyurl.com something something, that's how we track it. So anytime someone click on that link, so anytime, anywhere, you can share it on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you want to share it. As long as someone clicks on that link, we will be able to track the click. As long as someone purchases through that link, we will be able to track the purchase. That's how it works. So it doesn't matter where you share it.
There's a question from Mengi as well earlier.
Oh, okay. Is there any validity requirement after sign up? No validity requirement. You just need to be 18 and above and Malaysian. That's it. Can the assignment of content creation be submitted for the contest without signing up? You can definitely submit without signing up, but I would suggest to just have a look at the affiliate app, because there's a lot of content we create there. So it's good inspiration as well, like especially if you're doing for Big3, right? We have so many content on it on the affiliate app. So if you're stuck on ideas, the affiliate app could help you. But it's really up to you. You can choose to do it from scratch, so that's fine. Also, I will be sharing, hold on, let me just drop this up before I forget. I will be sharing with you guys the Lemonade link later. And I will also share some creative tools you can use for the visual development. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, but Canva is honestly one of the best. It's designed by designers to make it simple, like to make design simpler for others. Is Lemonade an app or a website? It is actually an insurance company based in the US, but they are often used as an example of a digital brand generally. So most insurance brands tend to like use them as a case study of a good digital insurance brand, but also generally in their use of digital social media marketing, right? Like their digital and social media marketing is so well done. I highly recommend you guys to just have a look at it. Unfortunately, because we're in Malaysia, we cannot buy their plans. If not, honestly, I tell you, I would have. It's a really good brand. Okay, I'm just gonna start the Kahoot. Hold on.
While you're starting, can we do the group picture? If everybody can turn on their cameras.
Okay.
Colin, you're on standby. Hope everybody had a very informative and engaging session today. So don't forget to create your contents, right? It's a good opportunity to have your content reviewed by Diana and her team, so that you know where you went wrong, where you can improve. So don't miss out on this, yeah. Okay, few more to on their cameras. We can do it quickly, then you start Kahoot quickly.
Can you share the name of the affiliate?
Munira, Ahmad, Angeline, Dudga, Joanna, Mafuza, Beryl, Rosa, Alicia. They are coming. So in the count of 3, right? Give me your best smile. Then I'll know that you had a good time. So 3, 2, 1. Colin, okay?
Okay, done.
Thank you. Now back to you, Diana.
Okay, hold on, let me just reply a couple of people. Just need to be sure that up to you. Of course, it'd be great if you can share it out, because let's say if you share out the content that you create for this assignment on your social media and stuff, we will actually, as long as you're open to sharing us your social media link, right? We will actually go through it and see like, oh, if you collect likes and stuff and you have a high number of likes, then we will put you in the running for the the awards. But if not, if you're not comfortable sharing, that's fine as well. You can just submit it to us. That's the only requirement. Okay, so we will start the Kahoot game. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so like usual, all you have to do is go to the Kahoot app or this Kahoot link and click on this game pin. Just put it in, and then you will actually be in the screen already. Oh, hold on, let me share the sound also. I just realized. Also, I just remembered, yes, last time, right, someone asked, I can't remember if they're here, but someone asked about the executor and beneficiary nomination for claims. They asked if the executor can also be a beneficiary, and I did check with the product team. They said yes, an executor can also be the beneficiary, because sometimes the executor is like the uncle or the aunt that is responsible for the minor, like beneficiary that's still a minor. So if that's the case, or in any case at all, the executor can also be a beneficiary. I really cannot recall who asked that question, so perhaps this can be like shared out to your friends if you remember who asked. Oh,
Beryl.
right, Beryl. Okay. Okay, I hope that answers your question, and I'm so sorry it took me so long to come back to it, because the product team took a bit of a time and they wanted to double check to make sure that they were right. So I'm not sure if all insurance companies allows that. They should actually, but in FWD, if you go through the nomination process, definitely can. Okay, we've got 13 people in. Since we're running a bit short on time already today, I'll just wait for maybe until 4:23 and then we will start. Okay.
Yeah. For those who are not in yet, put the link there as well. Once you log in, then just key in and you'll be in the platform. Anybody else joining? Time is running.
Okay. I will start first shortly, and Tinis, don't worry, the link is actually in the slides. So maybe I'll get Rani to send it over to you later, the link for the affiliate app.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let me just get started on the Kahoot first so we can wrap it up since like it's close to 4:30. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have things to do after as well, so I don't want to keep you waiting. All right, so first question, true or false? Hard sell content uses direct language and produces a feeling of urgency to effectively lead or sell. Okay, yes, you're right. It's true. That is the whole purpose of hard sell content. At any point of time that you have very little time, so you need to create an urgency feeling, hard sell content is your way to go. It essentially talks a lot about the product more than there's no storyline to it. It's very product oriented essentially. Okay, so Ili and Beryl are leading today, which is great. All right, so we only have 8 questions today, so it'll be quite fast actually. What are the fundamentals of visual content? This one's a bit more of a tricky question because I didn't give the answer directly in the slides. Correct, it's actually all of the above. And the reason why is because people just generally enjoy more visual content. So the more they associate like visual, something they can see, it builds better brand identity. Visual copy is also really important, like what you see on the content. And increased productivity, right? Actually, what this means is that it needs to be something that helps people save time or be more effective in the way they absorb information. That's what we mean by increased productivity. So, yep, you're right. It's actually all of the above. Good to know that a lot of you guys actually got the answer correct. That's really good. Okay, so Beryl, Colin, and Rose are leading now. Let's see who's going to be able to catch up with them. Okay, so this is more of a product question. Types of critical illness that are not covered, yeah? It's not covered. So we've talked about this a lot today. Okay, let's see. Correct, yes, we do not cover for diabetes under Big 3. We only cover for cancer, heart attack, and stroke. All right, so now while Beryl's still holding the lead, so let's see who's gonna catch up after this. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so this one is a multi-select question. It means there's multiple answers. Captions is needed to complement your postings. These are the things that you need to use. I just realized that there is multiple questions. There's a way to answer this question in multiple ways. Very interesting. Correct, yes. So actually, right, whichever you clicked also would have been correct. This was a bonus question. So it's intention, it's reliability, it's also engaging, and it's essentially all of the above as well. Okay. All right, you will receive daily income when you're admitted under to a hospital under this plan. Okay, so this one's actually more of a throwback revision question. Just want to see if you guys still remember what plan is actually a hospital income plan. Yes, correct. It's actually FWD Secure Direct. So we're just purposely mentioning it here because I actually talked about it when we were talking about the soft sell content. So this time around, the Kahoot is a little bit tougher simply because it's already the third week. Okay, sixth question. Below are the essential elements to include in writing a caption. This is also another bonus question. Correct, it is all of the above because, like I mentioned just now, it's intention. You need to have intention in what you're writing. It needs to be engaging, it needs to be relatable and reliable as well. So the reason why we are mentioning this multiple times, right, is because I really believe that when you do questions like this and you answer questions, that is when you actually learn more. Okay, so which sources is reliable to put in your content? Correct. Yes. I don't know who wrote all of the above, but please, your auntie's Facebook postings. I'm sure she's a great lady. But that's not a reliable source because we do not know where she got her sources from. And for the love of God, don't believe everything you read in WhatsApp groups. You know, like I tell you a funny story. My mom, she never falls for this sort of things, right? But when COVID started, my goodness, I feel like everybody just starts to believe in everything. So no, your auntie's Facebook postings, WhatsApp groups, they are not reliable sources. These are not people who you know, you don't know where they got their information from. They're not wrong, but I'm also saying that there is a possibility that their information is not entirely accurate. So yes, always to be on the safe side, get something from a relevant website. So like Columbia Asia, Medical Health Today, Wikipedia even, it's more reliable. Okay, so right now, Beryl, Colin, and Sharini are leading. We have one last question. If someone is admitted to the ICU, can they still get daily hospitalization cash allowance from FWD Secure Plan? Correct. Yes, it's true. They can get because it is a hospital cash plan at the end of the day. Okay, so let's see who is winning. Wow, I think we've had the same first winner for all 3 weeks. Congratulations, Beryl. Yeah, so Beryl's actually consistently been winning first place since the first week. I'm so impressed. Okay, guys. Yep, that's it from me. Congratulations to those that win. Don't worry, like I mentioned, your Kahoot participation, right? I screenshot every participation attendance at the start, so I know who's coming in. And yeah, so I will be definitely putting that in consideration when we give out the awards. That's all for this week. Oh, we finished just in time. Thank you so much. Can we replay the game? Alamak, I'm not sure lah. But actually, all this. Maybe we can do it now on week 5, right? Just to see if everyone still remembers everything. We can do that actually if you want. Yeah. So we can do that. And anyways, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. If you guys have any more questions, you can definitely drop it down now. I'm happy to answer them. But if you have any further questions throughout the week, again, you can always reach out to Rani or anyone else within the Get Employed team. They will be more than happy to let me know. Just to confirm, how will the Excel worksheet be sent to participants? I think I've sent it to Rani already, but no worries. I will just resend it again. And I think you can just...
Diana, actually, it's on the web's learning platform as well and email as well to everybody. So better just check and see the email.
No worries. I can send it again. So you can maybe just like attach it with this week's...
The new slides. Okay, sure. Can.
Okay, yeah, I think that's about it for this week. Thank you so much for joining. It's really great to see that the participation has been like still quite active even after the third week. Really grateful to see it. You guys are really a really nice batch to be with lah. Very engaging. It's a lot of fun on my end as well. So I definitely look forward to it every week. So yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys next week. So I really, really hope to see the assignments coming in this week. You are feel free to send the assignment until next week also. It's fine. There's no time limit to it. Yeah, so I'll send over the slides with my email. You can definitely just send it over to my email. And I'm very excited to see you guys and what you guys come up with. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much, Diana, for the session. And we look forward to having you next week. And to everybody, thank you for making time. There's actually some who haven't turned up. I think they're still on their holiday mood. So hopefully you get all of them present next session. Yeah. Thanks again to you and everybody. Have a lovely evening. See you all next Wednesday, 2:30.
Bye.
Bye.